was born into a family with 6 kids, mom and dad, definitely blue-collar laborer family. And I can remember going to my mom quite often, like annoyingly amounts of times, and saying to her, like, Mom, I think the stork dropped me at the wrong house. And she'd say, well, why is that? And it's like, because I'm supposed to be rich. Like, I just feel it. And, like, you guys are not rich. And so she would kind of laugh and wave me away and, go play. But this deep knowing of that there should be ease in life stayed with me for a long time. And I just continually asked her, how can we fix this, right? Like, where's my rich family? And it really never went away. And here I am, a spiritual money coach, many years later. But on my 5th birthday, my brother was killed at the end of our driveway during my birthday party. So that changed our life in ways you can't imagine. I used to think it changed my life in a way that it wasn't supposed to. I now understand it changed my life in the way that was needed. So my first thought was there was so much sadness in the house. And do you guys remember I Dream of Jeannie? When she would cross her arms and close her eyes and do the big head bob. And so I thought, well, magic's probably the answer, right? Because when she did the big head bob, she got everything she wanted. Instantly. No work. Everybody, got what they needed. And so for years, I practiced the I Dream of Jeannie head nod. And I was certain, as with the riches, that it would happen for me. But about 3 years of head nodding and, nothing materialized, so I kind of gave up on that. A bit of a slow learner, right? So then I thought, well, that didn't work very well. We were raised Roman Catholic, so church was a big part of our life. And around age 7, you go and you have First Communion. And so, I found prayer, and I was pretty encompassed by that very quickly. And so I think I'm probably the only 7-year-old ever to ask for a prayer corner in their house, but my parents obliged willingly and created this little prayer corner for me, and I had a bookshelf, and I had my Bibles and my Bible stories and my palm for Palm Sunday and my rosary, which I made with my grandpa, and that didn't usually go well. That's another story, but I was too creative. They had to be made a certain way, and I just didn't follow those rules. So, but I had my rosary, and then every week my mom would bring me a new little baby food jar of holy water. And I would have lots of fun and sprinkle the holy water everywhere. So every week I needed a new jar. And so for years, that was set up when I was about age 7, and I kept that and used it morning and night, had my prayer corner and said prayers every morning and every night until age 11 when we moved. Much like the magic, it didn't seem to change anything. So when we moved, I never set the prayer corner up again in my new house. And so, I kind of determined at that point that miracles weren't real either, much like the magic. So, life goes on, and eventually I got married and I had kids, and then I stayed home for about 10 years raising our kids. We had 4 and 4.5 years, so it was a busy time. When I did go back to work, I'd had a major concussion, and I thought, well, work's probably the answer. I can't remember anything, but if I have a job, I'll have to, because you have to know stuff when you go to work. So then the hardest part of that was remembering I had a job every day. So when I got the kids onto the school bus, they'd say, okay, Mom, go back in the house and get your purse and drive to work. Because if I didn't do it that quickly, I didn't do it. So I stayed there for a couple of years, and you know what? Going to work every day really did help. And within about 3 years, I got some memory back, but I lived a long time with sticky notes. And if it wasn't on a sticky note, it didn't happen in my life. So that's how I lived for a long time. Then I decided, I was pretty good. I'd get a full-time job, and so I worked for a staffing company for almost 14 years and started off as part-time reception. And by the end of my almost 14 years, I had held every position in that company except for one. And by the end, I was running the company. We had 12 offices and 50 staff, and I was traveling around to all the offices and working myself to the bone. So I started my day at 6, and I finished about 11 p.m., and my health was suffering, but I was too stubborn to notice that, even though my family and loved ones were telling me, and a lot of my staff too. But, I just kept going. And then there was this day, April 27th, 2015, and I sat in my van in the Woodstock parking lot of our office and just shouted at the universe, like, how much more can I take? And this was after hanging up from the conversation with the boss. And this is when I knew the universe had my back. And the next day, I was downsized from a six-figure job with a full expense account, 2 yearly bonuses, and a job I'd have never left. I loved the job. I just didn't love all of the job. But it paid so well, and I was treated so well financially, I would have stayed there till I retired. So it was a great gift. I was down to about 120 pounds. I had a rash from my waist to my ankles, and I had lost huge chunks of hair. But I wasn't stressed. I wasn't overworked. I was fine. So then I thought, well, I got the money. So the magic didn't work. The miracles didn't work. Got the money, and it didn't really work either. So what the heck works? And, it was at that point that I realized there is magic, and it does work, and there are miracles, and we see them all the time. And the money is just a byproduct of the other two. When you're not focused on the money shows up. But when we had our fourth daughter, she was, during our pregnancy, we were told that she would be born with trisomy 18, and I don't know if any of you know what that is, but the prognosis was not good back then. It's much better now, 25 years later. But we were told she'd be born with, total mental and physical disabilities and have a lifespan of approximately 2 months. So at that point, I definitely realized that miracles were real, and I got mine. And when she was born, she was absolutely perfect. 10 toes, 10 fingers, and no trisomy 18. What I also realized is that mindset has a lot to do with your miracles. My nephew was drowned in a school accident in 2000, so 19 years ago. That day we did not get a miracle. But what I've come to understand is it was not my miracle to get. And his mom now is actually suffering from a brain tumor. I'm hoping she gets her miracle this time, but we'll see. Sorry, didn't think I was going to get that choked up. Mindset is huge, and finding your happy place is so important. But what I really have come to realize is there are miracles everywhere. They are commonplace, but you have to get yourself to a point where you're aware of them, where you can be in the present moment so that you can see them, and then live in gratitude for them. I've also come to understand that magic is very real, and it really does work, but it's inside of you, inside each of us. And so it is your magic that you bring into the world that will change your life, that will let you have the life of your dreams, and that will bring you all of the happiness and joy and spontaneity that you're looking for in your life. So if you're not doing something that you love now, you have the ability to change that in any moment, and it really is just a moment's choice. So that is how I became a spiritual money coach. Spirituality has changed my life. I no longer go to church, but I am still very, very faithful. And that has opened my life to a world of energy that I just couldn't have even imagined 4 years ago. And my business this year, in 2 months, January and February, did better than all of last year. And so, as I said, when you just love your life and do what you love, the money's simply a byproduct. And so my life has really taught me that money, magic, and miracles are all possible.